tale of betrayal. A husband's quest for revenge after his wife and daughter contract an STD from the same man. Shattering two families, three men occupied plastic chairs outside Dr. Patterson's office, each clutching a manila envelope. The fluorescent lights buzzed above, casting a stark glow that rendered their faces ghostly as they averted their gazes, avoiding the weight of connection in the sterile atmosphere of the hospital. "What do you mean it can't be treated?" Ryan's voice trembled as he clutched his test results tightly. Malik gazed at his paperwork, his hands quivering with tension. "This cannot be correct. I am feeling quite well." Jake, the third man, remained seated, enveloped in a profound silence that spoke volumes. From just beyond the bend, Daniel Wright observed through the gleaming surface of a vending machine's glass. His visage was a mask of neutrality as he watched the three men who had shattered his marriage writhe in their chairs. He straightened his sanitation department uniform and departed silently. The scheme unfolded flawlessly. Half a year prior, Daniel's alarm blared at 5:30 a.m., just as it had every morning for the last 8 years. He turned to discover that Celeste's side of the bed lay vacant and frigid. From behind the bathroom door, he caught the sound of her voice on the phone, soft and shrouded in secrecy. I understand. Just grant me another week, and I shall devise a solution." He feigned slumber as she stepped into the room, his eyelids fluttering just enough to catch the sight of her deftly applying her makeup with an artist's finesse. Celeste had always possessed an undeniable beauty, the sort that commanded attention in grocery stores and stirred unease among other wives at social gatherings. Yet, in recent times, a shift had occurred. The gap that once seemed a mere fissure had now expanded into an abyss. "I'm heading to the studio early today," she remarked, her gaze averted from him. Yet another gathering to discuss brand collaboration. Daniel inclined his head, aware that she was oblivious to his gesture. In the span of 2 years, Celeste reinvented her identity, evolving from a pharmaceutical sales representative into a captivating lifestyle influencer. Her Instagram account, under the name Celeste Shines, had amassed a following of over 200K enthusiasts. She shared insights on wellness, fitness, and the pursuit of an ideal life, all the while their own existence quietly deteriorated. Once she departed, Daniel found himself perched on the edge of their bed, his gaze fixed on the framed photograph resting on his nightstand. 5 years have passed since their wedding day. In that moment, their joy was palpable, and a sense of hope radiated from them. His phone vibrated, a message from his supervisor. "Route 47 requires attention." Johnson reported his absence due to illness. With a weary sigh, Daniel prepared himself for the day ahead at work. For 12 years, he dedicated himself to the city's sanitation department, ascending from the role of a general laborer to that of a route supervisor. Though it lacked glamour, it offered a generous salary and outstanding benefits. More significantly, it bestowed upon him a gift that eluded most, an essence of invisibility. The garbage man often went unnoticed by the people around him. They caught sight of the truck, perhaps, yet the individual within remained unseen. It served as an impeccable guise for an individual who relished the art of watching the world unfold, all while remaining unseen. That evening, Daniel returned home to discover Celeste in the kitchen, radiating with enthusiasm. "Darling, you simply won't believe the events of today." She twirled, her golden locks shimmering in the glow. "A collaboration opportunity has presented itself with Zenith Wellness. It is a prominent supplement company. This has the potential to be monumental for my brand." Daniel succeeded in mustering a smile. "That's wonderful, dear. Your accomplishments fill me with pride." Yet, as he observed her revel in the moment, a persistent unease tugged at his thoughts. The timing appeared peculiar. Only this morning, she had been consumed by worries of finances, and now she found herself discussing a significant opportunity. "What led them to discover you?" he inquired. "It was through Ryan, in fact. He is acquainted with the owner and has spoken favorably on my behalf." "Ryan." Daniel's jaw clenched ever so slightly. Ryan Cooper, a personal trainer of notable repute, operated a luxurious gym nestled in the heart of downtown. He embodied all the qualities that Daniel lacked: height, strength, charm, and an undeniable appeal to women. 6 months prior, Celeste embarked on a training journey with him, asserting that she needed to elevate her fitness game for her social media content. That was kind of him, Daniel remarked thoughtfully. He has been an incredible friend, offering unwavering support for my aspirations. Celeste's smile wavered just a bit. Perhaps it's time for you to consider incorporating some exercise into your routine as well. Ryan asserts that physical activity is essential for maintaining mental well-being. The remark pierced through him, yet Daniel maintained a facade of calmness. I shall ponder it further. That night, with Celeste peacefully slumbering beside him, Daniel found himself gazing at the ceiling, pondering the moment when his wife had shifted her perception of him from a partner to a challenge in need of resolution. As dawn broke, Celeste hurriedly departed for yet another early meeting, her iPad left to charge on the kitchen counter. As Daniel prepared to leave for work, his gaze fell upon the screen, now marred by a crack. Likely the result of an unfortunate drop, he grasped it with the intention of delivering it to the repair shop during his lunch break. While he scrutinized the extent of the damage, the screen flickered to life, revealing a notification. A text message from D. I eagerly anticipate this evening. Please don the outfit we discussed. Ensure that he is in a deep slumber. Daniel felt a chill seep into his veins. He pressed on the message, and it unfurled into a conversation thread that twisted his stomach in knots. Celeste, I am filled with a profound sense of regret regarding this matter. D. You acknowledged that he isn't fulfilling your needs. Life is far too fleeting to dwell in misery. Celeste, I understand, but what if he discovers the truth? D. He shall not. Individuals of his kind seldom engage in such actions. They revel in the ease of their own obscurity. Daniel's hands trembled as he navigated through an endless stream of messages, a tapestry woven from months of conversations, plans, and the intimate secrets of their shared life that Celeste had entrusted to this Emma. In that moment, he beheld a sight that sent a chill coursing through his veins. D. Ensure that Jake and Adam are present this evening. You mentioned a desire to explore uncharted territory. Celeste, do you truly believe that? It appears that 3 converge simultaneously. D. Believe me, you are worthy of experiencing that vibrant sense of life once more. Moreover, they maintain a sense of subtlety. Jake is also married. Daniel placed the iPad down with deliberate care, his thoughts swirling in a tempest of activity. Jake. He was familiar with Jake. Their friendship had blossomed during their college years. In the realm of marketing, Jake Wright found his professional footing, all while residing in the familiar embrace of his neighborhood. They had gathered for barbecues, cheered during football games, and marked the passage of time with birthday celebrations. And Adam Khan was a real estate broker who had guided them in purchasing their home 3 years prior. He maintained contact, consistently sending messages regarding fresh investment prospects, each one of them within the confines of his dwelling. Accompanied by his wife, Daniel lingered in his kitchen, enveloped by the life he had meticulously crafted, yet sensed it disintegrating before his very eyes. Yet, rather than rage, he experienced an entirely different emotion, a presence that is both frigid and methodical. He retrieved his phone and dialed in, feigning illness to his employer. He then made his way to an electronics store, where he sought out the tiniest, most sophisticated recording devices available. Under the cover of darkness, Daniel feigned the act of swallowing a sleeping pill and retreated to his bed well before the hour grew late. At approximately 10 p.m., the sound of the front door creaking open reached his ears, accompanied by the soft murmur of voices drifting from the living room. Has he departed? It was unmistakably Ryan's voice. Celeste responded, utterly oblivious to her surroundings. He swallowed 2 pills this evening, claiming he was plagued by a headache. Daniel's heart raced, each thud echoing in his chest as he strained to hear the footsteps ascending the stairs. He had discreetly positioned a small recording device in the bedroom and another in the master bathroom. He could hear everything through the fragile walls. What ensued was an experience that would haunt him with the weight of humiliation. It wasn't merely the act of betrayal in the physical realm, but rather the manner in which they spoke of him. The humor, the scornful remarks, the manner in which his wife recounted their private moments, laced with a dispassionate harshness. "He's like furniture," Celeste remarked at one point, "yet ever present, ever quiet, never truly engaged in the unfolding events." The remaining men chuckled heartily. "At least furniture serves a purpose," Ryan responded. Daniel lay there, attuned to the fading echoes of his marriage, and resolved to take action. He had no intention of facing them. He resolved not to shed tears, nor to beg or attempt to reclaim his wife, that he was poised to embark on a far darker path. He would ensure they faced the consequences. In the ensuing fortnight, Daniel transformed into a specter within the confines of his own dwelling. He departed for work, returned home, engaged in courteous dialogue, and bided his time. Celeste appeared to breathe easier in the face of his seeming ignorance, her demeanor softening and warmth blossoming, which only fortified his determination. In this period, Daniel commenced the intricate process of establishing his true existence, the one that remained hidden from all. Over a decade ago, at the outset of his career with the city, Daniel had invested his modest savings in Bitcoin, acquiring it when its value lingered beneath the $100 mark. He persisted in acquiring modest quantities each month, regarding it as a form of retirement savings. In the wake of the price surge in 2017, he strategically liquidated a portion of his holdings, channeling his investments into a variety of other cryptocurrencies and technology stocks. He had never confided in Celeste regarding his investments. In her thoughts, he was merely a refuse collector destined to remain insignificant. Unbeknownst to her, her husband possessed a net worth exceeding $4.20 million. Daniel had meticulously concealed his fortune, employing a network of wallets and investment accounts. He had even established a modest property management LLC with the assistance of a lawyer located in a different state. On the surface, he embodied precisely what he seemed to be: a city worker, equipped with a humble 401k and a mortgage. Yet, in truth, he was something altogether different. As dusk settled, Daniel meticulously filled a solitary suitcase. All the while Celeste was engaged in what she referred to as a networking event. He relocated his belongings to a furnished apartment on the other side of town, a space he had secured through his LLC. He settled into his chair, fingers poised over the keyboard, ready to embark on the first phase of his meticulously crafted plan. In less than 60 minutes, he had forged a new persona: Dr. Daniel Harrison, a wellness consultant with a focus on men's health. He crafted a polished website, adorned with fabricated credentials and glowing testimonials. He obtained a business license and established a bank account in the name of his new company. On the following day, he feigned illness to his employer and made his way to the medical district. He discovered Dr. Tamara Lee nestled within a quaint clinic close to the university. Once a dedicated army medic, she had served in Afghanistan concurrently with Daniel. Over the years, they had maintained their connection, and she found herself indebted to him for the assistance he had provided in helping her establish herself in the city. "I require your assistance with a matter," Daniel stated, positioned across from her in her office. Tamara examined his features intently. "What type of assistance?" "The kind governed by law. I wish to provide complimentary STD screenings for men in the community, as part of a wellness initiative." She arched an eyebrow. "That's quite an intriguing notion. The rates appear to be quite elevated among young professionals. But what brings you to my door?" "I require someone I can rely on to manage the medical aspects, and I am confident that you appreciate the significance of confidentiality." Tamara reclined in her chair, a moment of stillness enveloping her. "What is this truly about, Daniel?" "One might say that I possess a fervent enthusiasm for the education surrounding men's health." She regarded him intently for a prolonged moment, then gave a subtle nod. "Very well, but we shall adhere strictly to the guidelines. Authentic assessments, genuine outcomes, established medical procedures. I wouldn't choose it differently." Daniel stepped through the door that evening, only to discover Celeste in the living room, her expression a mix of confusion and a hint of panic. "Where have you been? I attempted to reach you throughout the day. The phone has succumbed to its fate. I ventured out to explore some apartments." Her complexion faded to a ghostly pallor. "What do you mean by apartments?" Daniel placed his keys on the table and gazed at her, his eyes filled with sorrow. It seems that a bit of distance might be beneficial for us, Celeste. I sense the distance growing between us, and I refuse to compel you to remain in a union that brings you sorrow, Daniel. I discovered a quaint little spot. It's modest, yet it suffices for the time being. I plan to be out by the weekend. Celeste fixed her gaze upon him, visibly unsettled. She had anticipated a different response. Are you not interested in discussing this? Will you stand and fight for us? I grow weary of battling for a heart that shows no desire to be won. Daniel's voice carried a serene acceptance that my heart belongs to you, Celeste. Yet, I can no longer maintain the facade that all is well when it clearly is not. She parted her lips as if to utter a word, only to seal them once more. After a brief pause, she inclined her head in agreement. Perhaps this is for the best, at least for now, until we can sort everything out. Certainly, for the time being. On that particular night, Daniel placed a note upon the kitchen counter. I regret not meeting your expectations. I will strive to improve. He grasped his suitcase and stepped out of the home they had inhabited together for 3 years. As he settled into his car, a fleeting smile graced his lips. The first phase has reached its conclusion. From his newly acquired apartment, Daniel set forth on his campaign. He established social media profiles for his fictitious wellness enterprise and commenced the promotion of a male wellness challenge aimed at young professionals. The initiative vowed to provide complimentary health screenings, fitness evaluations, and dietary guidance. The lure was simply captivating. True strength lies in the commitment to one's health. Without excuses, without delays, without expense. In just a matter of days, he amassed a multitude of sign-ups, among them Ryan, Jake, and Adam. Ryan proved to be the simplest debate. Daniel's carefully crafted advertisements struck every chord within him. The interplay of physical prowess, notions of manhood, and the hierarchy of societal standing. After encountering Ryan's spirited post about it, Jake eagerly decided to sign up. Adam became involved after Daniel made a personal appeal, asserting that he had obtained Adam's contact details through a shared acquaintance. The screening event took place in a rented venue downtown, meticulously crafted to resemble a luxurious medical facility. Tamara managed the medical aspects with expertise, while Daniel, donning a disguise of a fake beard and glasses, assumed the character of Dr. Harrison. Gentlemen, he spoke to the assembly of around 30 men. I appreciate your commitment to prioritizing your health. Today's screening will encompass blood work, STD testing, and a thorough wellness evaluation. All information remains strictly confidential, and you can expect the results to be ready within 48 hours. In the front row, Ryan, Jake, and Adam exchanged playful banter, their laughter ringing out as they enjoyed each other's company. Unbeknownst to them, they were gazing upon the very man they had wronged. The tests held genuine validity. Daniel sought genuine outcomes, not mere illusions. That was pivotal for what followed. 3 days later, the results arrived in the inboxes of all 3 men. All was well. The blood work came back pristine, free of STDs, and overall health was exceptional. Yet Daniel had anticipated this moment. The second phase commenced with a subsequent email from Dr. Harrison. Well done on achieving such outstanding test results. Nonetheless, I felt compelled to connect regarding some troubling patterns we've noticed in our data. Although your individual results fall within the normal range, the testing has uncovered some intriguing patterns that merit further exploration. We invite you to reach out to our office to arrange a consultation at your convenience. The email carried an air of intentional ambiguity, tinged with a hint of unease. Daniel understood that unclear medical information would evoke anxiety in the majority of individuals. Within the span of an hour, Ryan was the first to call. Greetings, Dr. Harrison. This is Ryan Cooper speaking. I received your email regarding the patterns. Daniel softened his tone, articulating each word with meticulous care. Thank you for your call. Mr. Morrison, I would like to emphasize that your personal results fall within the normal ranges. Nevertheless, our examination has uncovered certain statistical irregularities within the group that took part in the screening. It is important to note, and I stress the importance, that there exists a chance that certain participants might have encountered a rare variant that eludes detection in conventional testing methods. Is it a variant? What type of variant are we discussing? I am unable to discuss the details over the phone, but I would appreciate it if you could come in for a short consultation. We are pleased to provide supplementary testing at no charge to guarantee that nothing has been overlooked." Ryan's voice trembled with concern. "What is the gravity of this situation? Your results, as I mentioned, fall within the normal range. However, considering the possible consequences, I would prefer to exercise a degree of caution. Would you be able to come in tomorrow?" Without hesitation, Ryan arranged an appointment. Jake and Adam found themselves on the receiving end of akin calls. The following day, the three men approached the counterfeit clinic, their anxiety palpable. In his guise as Dr. Harrison, Daniel engaged with each of them one by one. He spoke the truth regarding their health. Such a course of action would have posed considerable risks. Instead, he sowed the seeds of uncertainty and unease. He informed each man that the additional tests would require a few days for processing. For now, it would be wise to refrain from intimate contact until we receive clear results. As a precautionary measure, while the three men awaited their supplementary results, Daniel initiated Phase 3. He had meticulously recorded every detail: their dialogues, their comings and goings, their online interactions. He was intimately acquainted with their routines, their idiosyncrasies, their vulnerabilities. Ryan was the first to break. Overwhelmed by the uncertainty, he reached out to his ex-girlfriend Jessica, a nurse at the local hospital, requesting her assistance in finding information on rare STD variants. As she searched in vain for anything that aligned with his description, a sense of paranoia began to envelop him, growing more intense with each passing moment. His conduct at the gym grew increasingly unpredictable. He barked at clients, appeared unfocused during training sessions, and began to shun physical contact. Whispers circulated, hinting that all was not well with Ryan Cooper. Jake was grappling with the stress even more poorly. He grew increasingly certain that he had fallen victim to a grave illness, displaying all the hallmark signs of health anxiety: restless nights, a dwindling desire for food, and an unending quest through the vast expanse of the internet for elusive knowledge on rare ailments. Sarah, his wife, perceived the shift without delay as she probed him about his troubles. Jake committed the grave error of bringing up the troubling patterns revealed in his health screening. "What sort of patterns?" Sarah insisted. The doctor was unable to provide a definitive answer, yet there could be a rare variant that eludes detection in standard tests. Sarah's complexion drained of color. "Are you suggesting that you may have offered me something?" "Absolutely not. My results came back normal. This serves merely as a precaution, yet the harm has already been inflicted." Determined to take matters into her own hands, Sarah sought out testing, and upon receiving the reassuring news of normal results, her curiosity only deepened, prompting a flurry of inquiries. Who was this physician? To which clinic had he ventured? What was the reason for his need for further testing? With each attempt Jake made to clarify, Sarah's suspicion deepened. Their union, already frayed by his betrayal, started to disintegrate. Adam adopted an alternative strategy. Rather than fretting over his well-being, he found himself consumed by anger. He began placing calls, seeking to locate Dr. Harrison and insist on answers. However, the clinic's number directed me to voicemail, and the address pointed to a temporary office space that had already been abandoned. As the days wore on without any further developments, the three men grew increasingly wary, their minds racing with suspicions of deceit. Who could be behind this trickery, and what could their motives possibly be? 2 weeks following the deceptive follow-up, Daniel dispatched a concluding email to the trio of men. Following a thorough examination, I am delighted to convey that the troubling patterns we uncovered seem to stem from compromised testing equipment. Your initial findings remain valid, and further testing is not required. We sincerely regret any disruption this may have brought about. The sense of relief washed over me swiftly, yet it was fleeting. In a matter of hours, the three men came to the unsettling realization that they had been outmaneuvered. Yet, they remained oblivious to the identity of the perpetrator or the motives behind the actions. That evening, Ryan faced off against Jake and Adam at the gym. "This is absolute nonsense," Ryan exclaimed, his face flushed with rage. "It seems that someone has intentionally interfered with our situation." But who, indeed? Jake appeared weary, his marriage teetering on the brink after 2 weeks of Sarah's probing inquiries. What could possibly motivate someone to take such an action? I'm not sure, Adam replied, but I intend to discover the truth. I possess valuable connections within the realm of medicine. I shall pursue this Dr. Harrison figure with determination. Best of luck, Ryan murmured. I have already made an attempt. The man is but a specter. Their decision was made to convene the following day and exchange insights. Unbeknownst to them, they were under scrutiny. Daniel understood that the moment had arrived for the subsequent chapter. He had deftly sown seeds of doubt and anxiety within their minds, eroded their relationships, and led them to question their own judgment. At this moment, it was time for him to unveil his true self. He bided his time until the trio had gathered at Ryan's gym, then strode in clad in his usual attire, a pair of jeans, a sturdy work shirt, and a classic baseball cap. He appeared just like any other patron. Pardon me, he addressed Ryan, I understand that you provide personal training services. Ryan lifted his gaze from the dialogue he was sharing with Jake and Adam. Indeed, we do. Are you ready to embark on your journey? Perhaps something along those lines. Daniel removed his cap, fixing his gaze squarely on Ryan. It seems we should have a conversation. The acknowledgement was immediate. Ryan's complexion drained of color. Goodness gracious, Jake murmured. Adam stood frozen, his jaw slack in disbelief. Daniel's smile was devoid of warmth. Are you taken aback by my presence? Daniel, how did you, Ryan stammered, discover your little wellness screening? Or perhaps you could enlighten me about your activities in my home. The stillness lingered in the air between them. Other gym members began to sense the palpable tension in the air. Listen, Ryan said, striving to steady himself. Perhaps we ought to discuss this in a more secluded setting. What is the reason behind this? Do you feel a sense of embarrassment? Embarrassed? Daniel spoke with a serene demeanor, yet his gaze was as frigid as ice. How intriguing. You appeared quite at ease during your time in my bedroom. Jake advanced with purpose. Daniel, allow me to elucidate. Could you clarify what you mean? How is it that you have been my friend for 15 years and yet have shared my wife's bed? How you chuckled at the thought of me being mere furniture. Did you really believe I was too foolish to understand it? It isn't as you might imagine. It aligns perfectly with my thoughts. Daniel glanced over at Adam. Your assistance was instrumental in our journey to purchasing our home. You graced our Christmas party with your presence. You consumed my provisions and indulged in my drink, all the while scheming to undermine me. Adam discovered his voice. Daniel, I must express my apologies for the situation that unfolded, but it was Celeste who approached us. She mentioned that the two of you were experiencing difficulties. So, you chose to assist in resolving them by engaging in a threesome with my wife? The words lingered in the atmosphere, heavy and charged. As if poised to detonate, a crowd of gym members had paused their workouts, drawn in by the unfolding confrontation. Ryan endeavored to assert his dominance. This situation is spiraling beyond control. Daniel, I see that you're feeling frustrated, but it's important for us to approach the situation with maturity. Daniel let out a hearty laugh. Grown-ups, do you wish to approach this matter with maturity? This is what grown-ups engage in. Ryan. Their marriage comes to an end. They divided their possessions. They continue to navigate the journey of their lives. That's likely for the best, Jake murmured softly. Indeed, it is. What you three fail to grasp is that my purpose here is not to engage in conflict with you. I have no intention of trying to reclaim my wife's affection. Your hidden truth has been unveiled. It is no longer a secret. Could you clarify what you mean? Adam inquired. Daniel retrieved his phone and presented a video clip to them. Ryan was on the phone, his agitation palpable as he vented to his ex-girlfriend about unusual STD variants and enigmatic doctors. This is from a fortnight ago, Daniel remarked. Jessica expressed her concern for you, prompting her to record the call. She has been sharing it with individuals at the hospital. They believe you are experiencing a sort of mental collapse. Ryan's complexion shifted from pale to crimson. You scoundrel. You were known as Dr. Harrison. Excellent. It took you merely a fortnight to unravel the mystery. You subjected us to a nightmare. Jake declared that my wife nearly walked away from me due to your twisted game. My twisted game? Daniel's voice held a steady calmness, yet a hint of danger danced in his eyes. You invaded my home and disrespected my wife, yet somehow I'm the one being accused of playing twisted games? Is that so different, then? From my vantage point, it appears that you three are the ones who engaged in the games. You merely engaged them with an intellect that surpassed your own. Silence enveloped the gym, a stillness that felt almost palpable. All eyes were on the scene unfolding before them. Ryan moved in closer to Daniel. Do you believe you possess such wit? Do you believe this has come to an end? I believe you should tread lightly with your next words, Daniel responded. For I, unlike you, do not issue threats. I craft promises. What does that imply? Daniel wore a smile. What I revealed to you today is merely the starting point. I've been meticulously recording every detail. The exchanges you share, the gestures you make, the intimate gatherings you host. I possess knowledge about each of you that could unravel your lives should it ever see the light of day. You're bluffing, Malik declared. Am I? Jake, shall I inform Sarah about the other women? Those who were not my spouse? My records are meticulously detailed. Jake's complexion drained of color. Malik, I have come across some intriguing details regarding your business practices, specifically concerning falsified property appraisals. I have no doubt the state licensing board would find this utterly captivating. Malik's hands began to tremble, and Daniel pivoted to meet him head-on. I am aware of your discreet venture, the private training sessions you conduct with married women, the ones for which you impose an additional fee for tailored guidance. Ryan's jaw clenched with tension. Your understanding seems to be lacking. I am acquainted with Mrs. Patterson from the country club, Mrs. Rodriguez from the mayor's office, and no fewer than 6 others. I possess images, quite incriminating images. The stillness was overwhelming. Daniel pressed on, outlining the unfolding events. It would be best for you to keep your distance from my wife. You will keep your distance from me, and you will remain silent about all that has transpired. For if you fail to comply, I will ensure that the entire city becomes aware of the true nature of your character. You can't just, Ryan started. I can and I will, came the resolute reply. It appears, gentlemen, that you have committed a grave mistake. You mistook my silence for weakness. You took my humility as a sign of ignorance. You presumed I was insignificant simply because I make my living collecting refuse. Daniel moved in closer to Ryan. Yet, you never took the time to truly understand who I am. You never inquired about my history, my abilities, my assets. You have just witnessed what you long to see. A feeble husband, one who would never muster the courage to retaliate. What do you mean by that? Jake inquired. I'm expressing that I am not the person you believed me to be. I refuse to be the victim you envisioned for me. I am a being of a different kind altogether. You have erred in choosing to make me your adversary. Daniel began to walk away, but then hesitated. Ryan, it may be wise to consider canceling your afternoon appointments. It seems you may find yourself occupied with the task of clarifying to a few irate husbands the reasons behind their wives investing in your specialized instruction. As Daniel made his way to the exit, Ryan's voice rang out. This isn't over. Daniel paused and pivoted, returned. Indeed, it is. You have yet to grasp it fully. In the span of a mere day, the promises made by Daniel started to materialize. After receiving an anonymous package filled with photos and documents revealing his numerous affairs, Jake's wife, Sarah, made the decision to file for divorce. The evidence was so extensive that Jake's attorney urged him to reach a swift and discreet settlement. Adam's real estate license has been suspended while an investigation unfolds, following the state board's receipt of comprehensive reports detailing his fraudulent activities. His enterprise crumbled in an instant. Ryan faced the greatest hardships. 7 furious husbands stormed into his gym, armed with proof of his indiscretions with their spouses. The clash unfolded with a ferocity that captivated the attention of onlookers. As the week drew to a close, Ryan found himself stripped of his lease, his clients, and his once sturdy reputation, yet Daniel remained undeterred. A month passed, and Daniel finally reached out to Celeste with a solitary text. It's time for a conversation. Let us rendezvous at Café Luna at 2 p.m. today. Celeste entered, her appearance weary and filled with a sense of urgency. Her career as an influencer had crumbled following the public revelation of her 3 lovers. Brands had severed ties with her, followers had turned their backs, and her income had vanished. "You did this," she said as soon as she took her seat. "You obliterated them." "I didn't destroy anyone," Daniel replied with a serene composure. "I have just unveiled their true identities. The ruin was a consequence of their own actions. You are a creature of darkness. I am a man who has faced the sting of betrayal from both my wife and my friends. I am a man who chose to stand firm, wielding the only armaments at his disposal, truth and intellect." Celeste gazed at him, her eyes reflecting a tumultuous blend of animosity and trepidation. "What is it that you seek from me? I wish for you to grasp a particular notion. You believed yourself to be quite astute, conducting your clandestine liaisons in plain sight of me. You underestimated my intelligence and strength, believing I would never uncover the truth, but you were mistaken. I never claimed that you lacked intelligence. No, you just referred to me as furniture. Perpetually present, perpetually quiet, never truly integrated into the unfolding events." Celeste recoiled at the echo of her own words, hurled back at her with an unexpected force. Daniel pressed on, outlining the unfolding events. "You are about to affix your signature to the divorce documents. It is time for you to gather your personal belongings and depart. You will vanish entirely from my existence." "What is the status of the house? The portion of the assets that belongs to me?" Daniel smiled. "What treasures? Based on our tax returns, I am employed as a sanitation worker, earning a modest salary and maintaining a small 401k. The house is burdened with a heavy mortgage. There is no division to be found. That is beyond the realm of possibility. We possess savings and investments. What you have been permitted to observe is all that exists. Neither more nor less." Celeste's complexion drained of color as the weight of the implications settled upon her. "You concealed funds from me. I shielded myself from your influence. A distinction exists. Such an act is against the law. Proving asset concealment during a divorce presents a formidable challenge. When the assets were obtained prior to the marriage and maintained in distinct accounts, unbeknownst to the other spouse." Daniel's voice carried a straightforward clarity. "I have exercised great caution regarding documentation. You scoundrel, I am the one presenting you with a decision. Affix your signature to the documents, gather your belongings, and depart. Or compel me to bring this into the light, creating a chaotic spectacle. For I assure you, Celeste, engaging in a conflict with me is not a path you wish to tread." Celeste lingered in quiet contemplation for what felt like an eternity. At last, her voice broke the silence. "What transpired with you? Once, you embodied kindness and gentleness. I once wore the cloak of innocence. You have freed me from that affliction. I never intended for it to escalate to this extent. I found myself ensnared, a sense of unfulfillment weighing heavily upon me. I found myself yearning for something beyond the ordinary. At last, it is yours. Feel free to seek out all the fulfillment you desire. Simply not with my finances or within my abode." 3 days later, Celeste affixed her signature to the divorce papers. She left the house and returned to her mother's home in a different state. Her social media presence faded into silence, and she seemingly vanished from the city that had been the backdrop for her fleeting career as an influencer. Half a year had passed, and Daniel found himself in the kitchen of his home, crafting a cup of coffee while the morning sun poured through the windows. The silence enveloped the surroundings in a serene embrace, no longer heavy or burdensome. He had retained possession of the house. It was settled owing to his concealed fortune, yet he had developed a fondness for it, even in the face of the haunting memories. A message from Tamara lit up his phone, vibrating with urgency. "I came across the news regarding Ryan. The assault charges have been dismissed, yet he is choosing to depart from the town. How are you managing these days?" Daniel replied, "I'm fine. I appreciate all that you've done." He had held onto his position with the sanitation department, not just for the health insurance and pension, but primarily because he found fulfillment in the work itself. It anchored him, serving as a constant reminder that there is a profound dignity in honest labor. His investments flourished steadily, and he had discreetly contributed significant sums to a range of charities, primarily those supporting veterans and organizations dedicated to aiding individuals in their journey of recovery after trauma. He found himself unattached, despite the fact that several women had shown their interest. He was not prepared at that moment, perhaps he never would be. The ability to trust lay in ruins, perhaps irreparably so. Yet he found solace in his contentment that he had confronted the most profound treachery and risen with renewed strength. He discovered within himself a capacity for actions he had never envisioned, both dreadful and essential. The chime of the doorbell echoed through the quiet house. Daniel unlatched the door, revealing a young woman clad in a delivery uniform, cradling a package in her hands. "Is it Daniel Wright?" "Indeed, that is I." She presented him with a modest box, devoid of any return address. Within lay a solitary photograph. Ryan, Jake, and Adam sat at what seemed to be a bar, their expressions heavy with defeat and despair. On the reverse side, a message was inscribed. "They're all gone. Thought you might want to be informed." A companion. Daniel gazed at the photograph for a brief moment, then turned and approached the fireplace, where he cast it into the dancing flames. He observed the flames dance, recalling the evening he unearthed his wife's treachery, and the instant he resolved to retaliate, he had emerged victorious. Victory did not unfold as it does in the movies. There were no grand speeches or moments of vindication to savor. The serene contentment that arises from the understanding that every action bears its weight, and that those who often go unnoticed can unleash a formidable threat when driven to their limits. With the last sip of coffee warming him from within, Daniel donned his work uniform and stepped out, ready to embrace the day ahead. There lay refused to gather, a metropolis to maintain in its pristine state, and a life to embrace. As the flames consumed the photograph, it surrendered to the fire, leaving only ash and the echoes of what once was. As he navigated the serene suburban lanes, Daniel permitted himself a fleeting smile. During those shadowy months, he uncovered a significant truth about himself. He was not the man he believed himself to be. He was a figure of greater complexity, possessing remarkable abilities and exuding a palpable sense of danger. It was a lesson he wished would remain forever unneeded. Yet, should he choose to act, he stood prepared.